Everything is going to end. She is the only one who can stop it.
I've seen the first 9 episodes of season 3. I just really want to say congrats and how much I enjoy your work on this series. For both of you.
Thank you so much.
What do you think is going to happen?
Well, based on the interviews I've done, I think it's been spoiled for me, even though I haven't seen it. But it sounds like the shit's going to hit the fan.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. You could say that.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. Listen, I got a ton of questions for you. Thankfully, I have enough time. Lee, I'm going to start with an individual question for you, if you don't mind. I am a huge fan of Edgar Wright, and I know that you are in The Running Man, which I cannot wait to see. What can you tease about getting to work with Edgar and that project?
I'm also a huge fan of Edgar Wright, so the chance to get to work with him on this movie was really a dream come true. And the movie's a ton of fun. Like, I had a great time shooting it. The cast is fun. The tone is fun. It's just like a big, fast, it's going to be like a big, fun movie. So I'm really excited to see it come together. I'm excited to see it on a big screen. It's going to be good.
This is for both of you. This is not, I know we're talking about a TV show, but I'm obsessed with getting more people to see movies in movie theaters. So I'm just curious for both of you, do you have a favorite movie theater?
Oh, yeah, I do actually. I live in New York, so there's like a bunch of, it's such a part of being a New Yorker is having some, so there's Film Forum, there's Angelica, but lately, Angelica just got Village East over on 3rd Avenue, and I love that movie theater. I love the size of it. I love how like big and old fashioned it is. I recently saw The Brutalist there when it opened that first weekend, and there was such a cool crowd of people there to watch the movie. It added to the experience of the movie. So everyone got up at intermission, and you're like, God, all of these cool, smart people are liking the movie as much as I did. I'm in the right place.
I also have a favorite one in Helsinki where I live. It's close by my house. It's also an old-fashioned one. It used to be the Film Archive, which now changed to another location, but now they're kind of running a mixture of old films and new ones like the premieres. And it's just beautiful. And I love the thing that if anyone who goes there, people won't take like loads of food with them but it's kind of like people go there to watch the film and to be kind of together in that energy, but kind of respecting. So it's not like about this feast of doing so it's and the benches are so soft and kind of so worn out and old, but still soft. It's my favorite place. One of my favorite places in Helsinki.
Jumping into Foundation, Lee, this is going to be an individual for you, and it's probably the most serious question I'll ask during our conversation. Is it in your contract that you need to be shirtless half the season? I'm joking, but kind of.
No, it's that's the Emperor has no clothes. Right.
I'm just messing around. I just, anyway, moving on.
Right, but no, honestly, we're just messing around too, because that's, when I thought I'm playing the Emperor of the Galaxy, and there were different ideas for what I would wear during that spiral in that first season. And I just kind of thought, well, I mean, he's kind of one of the more famous emperors. It was the naked emperor with no clothes. So why not have a good time with this? So, yeah.
100%. So one of the things that I love about season 3 is the way that it shines a light on the first 2 seasons. You learn so much new information about those in the first 2 seasons through watching this season. How much of that information how much had you known when you were filming, and how much were you learning as you were getting these scripts?
Well, we knew some things that have turned out to be true, and then we heard other things that have turned out not to be true. So it's like
the rumors in the world of Foundation
are wild. So I would just say, it's until you see it on the show, it's a rumor.
Which of the 10 episodes from season 3 are you most excited for fans to see, and why, without spoilers?
Well, I find the turning points always really interesting in a story this big, and Foundation is not a story that is afraid of major reversals. So we'll set up one big idea just to have the rug pulled out from it in a way that, very much upends the chessboard. So I have an episode a little bit past the midway point where Day's mind opens up to a way of thinking about something that is very close and familiar to him that he never even would have considered. That's, I guess, the non-spoily way I can say it.
I would say maybe, yeah, it's so hard to take one episode out, but I think for Demerzel, kind of towards the end where we have like Demerzel and Cleon have their relationship opens something very new for her and but then also the big wheels start to turn and you can't stop the wheels turning. And I just found the whole thing so the writing, the rhythm of it all, and kind of like that it just took me over. So I would say maybe somewhere there-ish towards the end.
One of the things that I loved about this season with Demerzel is the way that she is trying to figure out her place and how she can sort of, I got to word this carefully. How can she not escape her situation, but what are the rules of her situation? She's like pushing on the walls, if you will. How much fun was it to play that? And what was your reaction? Because it's so interesting watching her try to find those boundaries.
I know it was, I found this season kind of even like melancholic for her, like longing for something that you don't even know what you long for. And I find that very recognizable and kind of like, and then having those restrictions and being able to find maybe a little path that goes around. So it was kind of, I felt it was very internal also for me this season, kind of the whole work, because it was the Cleons, they've drifted further. And then there's these grasps of trying to open up to someone, to have someone to emphasize you. But there's no one in the galaxy who can, because there's no one who is imprisoned in that way or who carries that burden of remembering everything. So she's just endlessly lonely. And I feel like it just kind of like the space around her just tightens and tightens until something happens. But it was, I found the whole season very emotional for her. And that's also interesting that suddenly she's so human she's a mechanical being, but at the same time, she's capable of these very human, deep kind of understandings of herself and everything. So yeah, melancholic, emotional, huge, but held inside, kind of spiraling towards it. So love the writing.
Actually, that's something I want to touch on. One of the reasons I commend Apple TV for their exceptional sci-fi series, but what I love about this show is the way it doesn't water down anything for anyone. It is like hard sci-fi with there's just so much I love about it. Can you both talk a little bit about the writing and how it's just so unique compared to the way, I don't want to say network TV, but how so many other things give you too much exposition and water it down. And I love that the show doesn't do that.
Well, the show, one of the big things we had to get right from the very beginning was to create a vast, vast universe. And it's taken time to do it. And we've had to do it by degrees. And this is my observation as the actor looking at the writing of it. In the first season, it was Trantor, and then way at the far side of the galaxy, this little tiny colony on Terminus, right? And a couple other planets and areas and dark space in between. But it was like, that's all we knew of the galaxy at that point. Second season, the Cloud Dominion comes in. There's other kind of factors at play inside the galaxy. Ingus comes in, and it gets a bit bigger, a bit more diverse. And then in this season, we really, Foundation has now expanded into not just a few planets who are kind of working together, but into a political force that rivals Empire. Empire has decreased, and the people in the palace don't have the power they once did. So the political landscape has all changed. But would you ever understand what that big power dynamic was if you didn't have that time to live with Trantor and that little colony in New Terminus? That's like England and those ships that landed on the New World. And 300 years later, this is where we are, right? That's the analogy that you can form,
And also, I feel like the show doesn't sacrifice the characters for this vastness and then the universes, but then you have characters that are not written to represent one thing or just to be good or bad, but it's always so layered and nuanced, and the relationship, and they change, and you kind of get surprised by that. So also the writing for character has been so rich the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it doesn't matter if the action is epic if the characters you don't care about.
Yeah.
That's the reason I watch the show, is the characters. But so I'm curious for both of you, in the making of any project, there's always going to be a scene or sequence along the way that becomes more challenging than you're expecting. And so I'm just curious for both of you, what scene or sequence during the making of Foundation ended up being more challenging or more unexpected than you anticipated going in?
The scenes, I mean, I always like a challenge. I always think the challenges are really fun. And I would say the fights in last season's day, I just thought, gosh, we've got this violent emperor. Like, let's make him really violent and really have a good time with these fights. So, and let him, put the fight on his skin. He doesn't need weapons. He's going to use his hands. That's who he is. And it was a lot of work, but I wouldn't say it was, and it was a challenge too, because it took a lot of rehearsal. It took a lot of effort to put them together. But in doing that, I learned so much about the character that season and was able to inhabit him in a way that even in the scenes that I wasn't fighting in, I could taste him in a way.
I would say also that the best things are the most challenging ones. For me, the season 2, the dungeon scene where we learn her, like where she comes from, the way it was built, the set, everything, it was so mechanical and yet at the same time so emotional, kind of like me being segmented into pieces, only being able to use my eyes. I love the challenge. So it usually the most challenging things are the ones that you fall in love with most. Like those are the things that stay with you forever because they're so special.
Yeah, that's also an exceptional episode. That whole backstory is, both heartbreaking and cool.
Yeah.
I'm out of time. I'm just going to say I really sincerely thank you so much for your work on the series, and I hope a shit ton of people watch so you can get season 4.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. Hopefully we talk soon.
Thank you so much.